Give yourselves a hand for being here tonight.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to have this conversation with you all in the room and to be here with this esteemed group of panelists. My name is Dr. Inger Burnett Ziegler. I'm a clinical psychologist, and I primarily work with women who are navigating everyday stress related to work, their relationships, caring for family members, and sometimes these women are experiencing symptoms of depression and anxiety as a result of everything that they're carrying. As a part of my work, I also do research and advise on mental health policy to help people that are experiencing mental health symptoms to connect to the services and the support that they need. I'm especially grateful for every opportunity that I have to be in rooms like this with young people like you to talk about mental health, because I want everybody to know that these difficult feelings are normal and that support is available, and to be able to recognize when difficult feelings are showing up before they might reach a time of crisis so that they can get the supports that they need. Let's start our conversation tonight with the numbers. About 1 in 4 women, will experience some form of mental health challenge in a given year. And women experience conditions like depression, anxiety, and PTSD or post-traumatic stress disorder at higher rates than men. So think about 1 in 4. So that's a little bit more than one person on every row in this room. And that happens in part due to the weight of what women are so often carrying, those caregiving responsibilities, both immediate and extended family, work demands, financial pressures, relationship tensions, the expectation to be able to do it all in a culture that doesn't give us the supports that we need. Athletes, especially female athletes, have even more pressures. Female athletes report more symptoms of depression and anxiety, and significantly higher rates of exhaustion and overwhelm than their male counterparts. And most of those female athletes that are experiencing those feelings don't get connected to the help that they need. Female athletes have high performance standards, are under immense pressure, and also experience high symptoms, but less connections to treatment. And that's why we're here tonight. That's why we're here to have this conversation, and that's why the NET exists. The NET is Chicago Sky's system of support, built to connect players to real resources, real professionals, and a real safety net, so that no one on the team has to figure out on their own when something is wrong and where to turn when they realize that something is wrong. The same way a training exists for the body, the NET exists for the mind. And that brings us to our theme for tonight, the sixth player. Who knows what the sixth player is? No? All right, well, we're going to get into it. Anyone who follows the game knows that the sixth player means the one who checks in, the one that steps up, who's ready to jump in off the bench, who steps onto the floor under that moment when someone else is gasping for air and needs to come out for a few moments. The sixth player doesn't mean that one of the starter players has failed. It means that the team is there to make sure that no one has to play every single moment. No one has to reach that point of exhaustion. Mental health support works in the same way. A therapist, a teammate, a coach who notices a friend and says, "Let me carry this with you for a minute," is the sixth player. And all of you in this room can play a role as the sixth player. Needing to tap in is not weakness. Rest is not the opposite of competing. It's a part of competing, and it's what allows us to stay healthy and strong. Tonight, our panelists are going to talk honestly about the pressures that come with being a professional athlete, the physical demands, but also the mental and emotional weight that doesn't always show up on the stat sheet or on the floor. And I want to invite all of you as this community to think about your own role in this. Because the sixth player is not just a locker room concept, it's a community, and you're part of that community. It's what we build together when we make it normal to ask for help, normal to rest, and normal to say, I don't have to carry this alone. With that, let's meet our wonderful panelists who are, yeah, who are going to guide this conversation tonight. And I'll turn it over to them to introduce themselves. And I'll start with you, Cynthia.
Hi, everyone. I'm Cynthia Miller-Idris. Let me see if this is on. I'll just use this one. We'll go back. We're adaptable.
Yes, yes.
Resilient. I'm Cynthia Miller-Idris. I run an organization called Peril, the Polarization and Extremism Research and Innovation Lab. And we're partnered tonight here at the Chicago Sky to help talk about online harms and some of the online harassment and misogyny that women athletes face. We have a division. We do a lot of work on interventions and preventative work to help equip communities to resist and prevent violence that comes out of a lot of online harms. And we have a division on preventing gendered violence that specifically looks at some of the harms that girls and women are facing, including athletes. And so we're really honored to be here tonight, and I'm happy to be in this conversation with y'all.
Excellent, excellent. Let's do this. Hello, I am Dr. Kirby Kidd, Dr. K for short. I am the mental performance consultant with the Chicago Sky, and I'm also a licensed psychologist specializing in sports, or sports psychologist. I am very honored to be in this position to support the W at this very monumental time, the 30th anniversary of the W, and the pressures that women are under with sport is immense, given the larger landscape that it's operating in with now. And it's just an honor to be present to support that and to be, I would say, a very relational, relatable person available to support the athletes.
Hi, everyone. My name is Clarissa Flores, born and bred here in Chicago, went to Whitney Young High School, then went to Northwestern. So just like you guys, I'm just a kid from Chicago, completely honored to be sitting up here with this fine, esteemed group and, on behalf of the Chicago Sky. I did play basketball. I played basketball for Northwestern. I played overseas. I played for the Puerto Rican national team. I've been in hospitality now for 2 decades, so I own a women's sports bar in Wrigleyville. It is Chicago's home for women's sports. But aside from that, I'm just here to kind of give you the perspective from an athlete, again, a kid growing up in Chicago and facing a lot of the same battles that you guys probably do on a daily basis, but just kind of giving you that perspective. So excited to be here.
Okay, Dr. K, you mentioned the pressures that female athletes are experiencing, particularly in this moment in time. Can you talk a little bit more about the specific pressures that you've been noticing that can impact the mental health of our female players?
Yes. So as you are asking the question, I'm thinking about just the continuum of girls' youth all the way to professional. So with youth, you typically begin to see that young girls choose to opt out of sport due to a sense of belonging, sense of equipment, bras, access to things that literally make girls feel comfortable in their body just to compete. Sometimes it's the options of the sport that's not readily available. Maybe basketball isn't your thing, but maybe you want to do lacrosse. Maybe you want to do hockey, but sometimes it's not available. What can happen, and I work also with collegiate athletes as well, now that gambling is really prominent and social media is really out there and readily accessible, sometimes you have athletes, girls and women, really encounter haters, nasty people, mean people that really say disparaging things online. And that can impact the mental health of anyone, especially girls and women who are sometimes in more vulnerable positions, given that it's not really, they're not operating in more dominant spaces, I would say, as a male. So really encountering that can really impact their anxiety, depression, relationships, sense of safety, emotional and physical as well. And on the professional lens, it's still dealing with just a lot of pressures of the contract, a lot of pressures of money, time management, and caring for others, especially if they are the breadwinner of their family. So a lot of those things can be stressors that can really overtake and overwhelm the mental health.
Thank you. I love this support in the room. Clarissa, same question for you, maybe from your perspective as an athlete, what you noticed in yourself and in your teammates when you were playing.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
The question is what pressures you
Yes.
notice female athletes experience that may have an impact on their mental health.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like the pressures that we experience as women is actually so much greater. And like you said, the numbers don't lie. 1 in 4 women are experiencing that. But what I find is that through all the pressures that we face, I think the biggest thing that got me through my career and, as an athlete, juggling school, juggling practice, juggling mom and dad, juggling chores, were my friends. That sixth person, my best friend, the people around me, the company that I kept, my core group of people, they're the ones that got me through all the challenges and all the pressures that I had to overcome. So, just a small piece of advice, keep your friends close, tight, and continue to support one another.
Yeah, that's so important. I appreciate you highlighting that the people that are closest to you may be the first people that kind of recognize that something's going on, that you can turn to, and that it's also incumbent upon us to accept the help
Yeah.
and let people around us know when we need help. Dr. Cynthia, for you, online negativity can feel heavy because digital platforms often amplify conflict. What can players do to protect themselves from this type of hate? And how can fans disrupt negativity and make their support more visible?
So thanks for that question. So I sort of like had it on and then it went back off. So I will say our lab, our little center created a toolkit that has a QR code that we'll share, and it's called Be the Sixth Player. It's a bystander intervention playbook for fans, families, and communities that we made for tonight's event. And that and other resources are free on our website, and we're really excited to partner on it. So some of the things that we recommend in it include really speaking up as an ally when it happens to somebody you know, because it really matters. One of the things we see is that it really quickly online hate and harassment becomes normalized, meaning like people, especially girls and women, sometimes just think that's part of the cost of being a public figure or an athlete or an elected official. These are areas where we see a lot of it. You get so inundated, so used to it. So calling it out, like calling a foul, as we call it, right? Saying that this isn't cool, it's not okay when it happens to somebody else. And making sure that you're safe, that you evaluate it, and that you report it where you can. And I think a lot of kids we know who we work with don't report, right? They either forget they can report on the social media platforms, or it often feels like it doesn't matter if you report, right? Of course it doesn't feel like it matters, but it really matters. And also not amplifying it. One of the things that we also see is that people will reshare it out of like anger or outrage, and then it just amplifies the same form of hate. So we have a lot of other tools. I know for the interest of time, I'm not going to go through it, but we have a lot of guidance here that helps share what you can do.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think that idea of what a bystander or sixth player can do to take the weight off of the person who's perhaps directly impacted by the negative conversation, that in itself is so important because, that person is experiencing maybe the shame, embarrassment, maybe sadness, hurt, anger, all of the things. And to have somebody else step up and say, no, I got you, this isn't right, I'm going to report this and intervene, whether it be on the court or in any other circumstance, can be incredibly powerful. Same question for you, Dr. K. What can players do to protect themselves from online hate, and how can fans help to disrupt negativity?
Oh, I like it. So one of the things that the W is pushing forth is Social Protect. It's a company and a software system that helps players basically utilize their social media and kind of go in and block literally the hate, block a repeat offender, and it just helps to shield things away from even just seeing it and being baited into responding or baited into resharing. I appreciate you sharing that, mentioning that as well. So that is one thing that can help. There are things out there that can literally just help push it away. We don't even see it. I know a lot of players throughout the league that actually just delete their social media. Like they're not engaging throughout the season. They just want to have more of a peaceful engagement with their phone and with others. So hey, if you're not on it, you're not activated, that's not an opportunity to essentially hate on me. I would say that. Another thing that I really believe in is that if you are experiencing bullying or hate, you find and connect with your community that gets it, that knows you, that your A1 day ones, they know you. They you don't have to be colorful around them. You don't have to fake or be pretentious around them, but you are connecting with you and they're holding you solid. Some of those friends, they will basically go to your defense for you and basically make a statement. I know we've all seen paragraphs and pages and posts out there on social media on the behalf of people's friends. So people will stand up and protect you. But one of the things I really believe in as well is that if you see someone, your ally, and they're experiencing some hate, please go to that person. Build that rapport with that person before you go out and try to fight the monsters. Because oftentimes now you're giving the monster energy and your peer is left without the support that they need. So that's something that I believe in. It makes a difference. So love wins in my book.
If I could
Yes,
touch on that really
please.
quickly, I know we're
Please.
kind of short on time, but I just want to say, like, talking trash is part of the game. It's part of sports. But you know what's even better? I call myself the chief hype officer because I hype everyone up. So, just as you said, you see someone getting beat down, trash talked, hype them up, hype your people up. That's always going to make you feel better. It's going to make your teammates feel better. It's going to make, your family and community feel better. So again, chief hype officer, that's me. I will hype everyone up in this room. So do it to your fellow classmates, your teammates, your people, your family. Trust me, it'll feel good all around.
I love it.
I love that. Yeah. There's some hype in this room, which I love. And I love that title of Chief Hype Officer. I think I might steal that. I also wanted to just second what you were sharing about the boundaries in social media. As a psychologist, myself, working with people that feel triggered for whatever reason by what they see on social media, whether it be comparing yourself to other people or getting negative comments in your inbox or, anything that social media can bring up. That's certainly one of the things that I recommend is how can you either limit your engagement with Twitter or X or Instagram or TikTok, whatever it is. I know. Whatever it is that's triggering you, how can you either limit your engagement with it or just take yourself off entirely? And I think a lot of times people feel better than they would expect with the disengagement. So thank you for that. Okay, I'm going to start with you this time, Clarissa. What are some signs that you've seen that athletes are struggling or could use some extra support?
I mean, some of the signs are when they're really quiet. Typically, an athlete is, boisterous and loud, and, they have that big personality. But a lot of the struggles that I've seen, they become quiet. But a lot of it is, we're not just athletes. We're humans. We're sisters. We're brothers. We're friends. And people forget that. People look at the stats, but people forget that we're human. So, mental health and performance are all in the same. We're not just performing. Mental health is the foundation of our performance because if our mental health is not there, we are not performing, period. So, yeah, I think, there's so many struggles and so many different avenues, but I've always noticed when I've seen a teammate or a family member that's kind of like quiet and on their own, I know they're struggling, and always ask someone just how they're doing, just randomly. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter. When someone asks me, how are you? It's the best feeling in the world when I can just sit there and vent for a moment to them. So just be nice and ask someone how they're doing. Trust me, a smile will go a long way.
Yeah. Notice, pay attention
Yeah.
to the people that are around you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good gem. And as a clinician, we know that women or females in general, are more likely to withdraw and turn in, where men may be more likely to turn outward and have more aggressive or obvious behaviors of struggling. And that can make women sometimes go unnoticed. Yeah. Dr. K, chime in, please. How do you know when someone's struggling? And I know you play an important role in helping folks when they get to that moment of struggle.
Yes, thank you for the question. So, to add, when you notice just when your peer is uncharacteristic of themselves, just big general, you can notice if you have a friend who really loves their presentations, very fashionable, hair, nails, everything is done, and they come in and it's like, whoa, your hair's not done, or like you know the rhythm of people. When their rhythm starts changing, it's like, hey, let's check in. Is everything okay? How are you doing? If you notice a person is becoming a little bit more argumentative, or their language gets a little tense and is a bit more strong, that might be an indication of something going on at home, something going on in the sport. It could be anything. So it's a lot of signs that we have just as humans, their body posture. If I came in and I'm hunched like this, you probably just like, oh, she doesn't have confidence. So those are things that you can notice as well. People not looking you in the eye because they don't want to be seen. But it's like, no, I see you. Let's have a conversation. So a lot of tales that we have just as humans, because we are surrounded by people that do care about us and notice.
Please, I was coming to you next, Dr. Cynthia.
I was just going to add really quickly that one of the things I hear a lot from high school students who often ask what they can do themselves, right? They want to intervene with a peer intervention or something like that. One of the things we find is that high school students are like the absolute best interveners with middle school students, right? That you're in a great position to work with younger siblings, to be aware and observe what's happening with younger cousins or siblings. Sometimes it's not that you shouldn't be aware of what your peers are doing, but it can be really hard to intervene with a peer in social groups. But with a younger person, you have so much power that even a year or two difference makes a huge difference in how much they're going to listen to you and how much they look up to you. And so that's one of the things that I think is just such power that you hold. And so it's one of those areas where you can really observe a younger sibling who's exhibiting all these signs of going quiet or isolating themselves from a previous friend group. That's one of the warning signs that we tell parents about. But actually, I think older siblings, although you're still kids and shouldn't be responsible for your younger siblings, you can be one of the best observers of warning signs. And that's a moment when you really can get help from adults, from trusted adults. If it's not a parent, then a neighbor or a teacher or a mental health counselor, school counselor, a coach who can intervene. Because a lot of times the adults in the lives aren't going to see it and or won't understand what those signs are the way that you will.
Thank you for sharing that.
I'm going to go a little bit off script, if that's okay. Building off what both Dr. Cynthia, you said, as well as Dr. K, I know sometimes folks can be afraid of how someone's going to respond if you say something. So I would like to start with you, Dr. Cynthia, if you can say a little bit about, what you've observed about how people respond to being noticed and that hand being extended.
Yeah, I think there's two things that I hear from teenagers that they're scared of for good reason. One is they're scared if they tell an adult they're going to lose their phones, right? And that actually sometimes happens in the teenagers we work with, right? Like they tell an adult about something bad that happened to them on social media or harassment, and the parents take the phone or they make them delete the app. So then they don't tell adults, right? I think that's one of the really the fear of losing something shouldn't prevent you from getting the safety that you deserve, right? And so I think that's something to remember. What you deserve is to be safe, to be protected, and that adults should be doing that for you. So that's one thing. And then the thing they're afraid of with peers is being ostracized or made fun of further. And I think that's actually like a very core mental health issue around confidence. And you have, again, they're more power than you know to try not to let somebody else take your confidence from you. That's the main thing I would say. And it's hard to do, but I think remembering that you deserve help from other people and that you're entitled to it. You're entitled for the help from adults and people who care about you.
Yeah, I love that. You deserve help and you're entitled to it. Yeah.
And ask the question again. I apologize.
What have you observed about if you say to a player, hey, I notice something's different with you? What have you observed in terms of their reaction? Because we know sometimes people are like, oh, they don't want me in their business, or they're going to be mad at me, or something like that, or I don't want to answer your questions. What have you observed when you make that outreach to someone that something seems different? I care about you. I'm here to support you. How do they tend to respond?
I've experienced deflection, so maybe they don't want to be known or found out, and it's like, okay, and I receive that as data. It will not deter me from asking again, because what could happen too is that they might do a little switch up, a behavioral change to kind of hide that, but then I'm clocking that as well, and then I'll kind of come back and just continue to express, hey, I'm observing this now. And is this connected to XYZ? So just to say that it's not like you're being interrogated or you're under an eagle eye or anything, but it's just say, hey, I care, I notice. Is this related to this? I've had also athletes, players literally look at me with big eyes and say, oh my gosh, yes.
Relief.
And then the conversation just flows, and sometimes it does not stop. But it makes for great interaction and rapport building in my case. And I've also have had the experience where the eyes grow big and tears happen, and it's like, okay, let's get to a private space. So you have that privacy, and this is just a confidential connection that we're having together. So I've had, I would say, the continuum of experiences, but my message in doing that too, again, is to say, hey, I notice and I see and I care to ask.
Great.
Yeah. I would just add to that, because, you guys touched on it perfectly, is like everyone here, starting from now till the rest of your life, every single one of you are going to have hard conversations. You're always going to have a hard conversation, whether that's with your friend next to you, that's your teammate, that's your coach, that's your mother, whoever it is. Get used to the fact now that you're going to have these tough conversations and just work through it. It's going to happen for the rest of your life. It's going to happen, and just work through it. And just remember, someone's always going to be there to support you and help you through it as well.
I'm going to start with you, Clarissa. You mentioned that you own a bar in Wrigleyville. And while one may not name it this way at first glance, but we know these places of convenings are also places of support and community, joy, which is an important part of our mental health.
Oh, yeah.
So I'd like to ask you, support can come from many places, teammates, coaches, families, community spaces. What does an effective support system look like or encompass from your perspective?
Yeah, I think an effective support system looks like, not criticism, encouragement over criticism, which is basically what I've been harping on since, I sat here, and just being that hype woman and being that support system, and building the community. I've built what I've done for the last 20 years is build communities for underserved markets and people. That's my passion. That's what I do. But yeah, just again, encouragement over criticism all day is what that looks like. Being that sixth player is what it looks like.
Yeah. I'll ask the same of our other panelists. Dr. K, what does support, if we had to have a support toolkit,
So
what would you put in the toolkit?
I would put in a toolkit people who are emotionally available for you. That will go a long way, not only in support, but just interacting with people, and interacting with systems and organizations, like they're emotionally available to be real with you, and connect with you as a human. So I would say that's very important. I love humor, so my community needs to laugh. Like, please make me laugh, because that will just get me out of anything bad. So
I could relate on that.
yes, it's important. Let's
love a
laugh
good
together.
laugh.
I will make jokes about myself and other things. So that's important. So humor, emotionally available, and just to keep it real.
Yeah. Honesty.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would say what we find in our research is that there's three really important markers that reduce vulnerability to all kinds of harms as you grow up. One is a sense of connectedness to other people. That's like friendships. The other is a sense of belonging to something bigger and better than yourself. And the third thing is a sense of purpose, right? So if you can hold on to those three things, like connectedness, belonging, and purpose, that goes a huge way in protecting your mental health and protecting. There's really good evidence that shows it affects how long you live, actually, is how well you stay connected. The good news is actually women do those things, connectedness, much better than men. So the outcomes on friendships, on connection, on belonging, on community are much better for women than they are for men. It's like years of difference in how long you live. So hold on to that and surround yourself with the right people as you get older, to stay connected, to foster that well-being, but also find something that matters to you to pursue. It could be athletics, it could be being a parent, it could be being a good aunt, whatever it is, like, or a career that really means a lot to you. Those things matter in a huge way in terms of like your own mental health, but also lifelong well-being.
Yeah. These gems that each of you have shared are gems that I think any of us can use at any point in our life. No matter what our state of mental health is at that particular moment, these are things that we can take in and practice in moments when we're feeling pretty good, as well in moments that are perhaps more challenging. I do want to lift up that there can become a time when people need more. You may still, it doesn't mean that your family and friends aren't there for you. You may still have that hype person that's there and the person that's kind of tapping you on the shoulder, but you need more. You need Dr. K or another mental health professional to really step in and really better understand what's going on. And I know that sometimes there can be a lot of shame and stigma and embarrassment around, something's wrong with me, or what does it mean that I have to see, a therapist, a psychiatrist, a psychologist, a social worker. But that also is a part of us staying well. I remember at the beginning, you highlighted that, mental wellness is performance. And that performance is if you're an athlete or a student or whatever it is that you're doing, it helps us to show up and be our best selves. And so if you need professional mental health treatment, that's a part of the process as well.
Absolutely.
All right, so we're getting to our last questions. The theme of tonight is the sixth player. Again, we are all the sixth player, representing the way that we all, individuals, families, communities, can step up and support female athletes in particular, but everyone that we touch, that we come into contact with. So, Dr. Cynthia, I'm going to start with you. What is one specific action here that everyone here can take to help girls and women athletes feel safer, supported, and able to thrive? So this is our ask of you tonight to take with you when you leave having a fun time at the game.
I would say the number one thing I would urge everyone to do is listen to the people around you, because they will tell you in actions or in words when there's something going on. And I think that ability to listen, to hear people, and then to help them is how you are the sixth player.
I would say one action step, still have a couple actions. Volunteer. Volunteer Donate your time, donate money, donate resources to keep girls in sport, to keep girls active, to keep girls engaged in extracurriculars after school, while listening to them, because they will talk. And they want to talk, and they want to share, and they want to be seen. So volunteers show up and continue to just be present in their lives.
Yeah, I think the final gem from my perspective would just kind of be, sometimes you have to be your own sixth player. And sometimes you have to protect your own peace. And what you ladies have to, the sooner you learn this, the better off you'll be. But sometimes you're going to have to disappoint other people so you don't disappoint yourself. So protect your peace. If you have to say no, say no. When I was younger, I wanted to say yes to everything. But I quickly learned, at my age, that I couldn't say yes to everything. I couldn't do everything. So protect your peace. You're going to have to disappoint other people to protect yourself. And sometimes be your own sixth person.
You essentially answered my last question, but round robin, and I'm going to start with you. Who is your sixth player?
Ooh, wow. I mean, my best friend's in the room, so
Hey.
shout out best friend. That's my best friend. She's my sixth player. She's been my hype woman from day one, so I'm going to have to go with my best friend.
All right.
Yes. Oh gosh, my sixth player, I would say, people in my network within the sport psychology network. I have a really close friend. We pretty much talk every single day, just about things in the world, things that we're seeing on the job, and again, they're emotionally available.
Yeah.
And very humorous. So
Yeah. Awesome.
I'm gonna have to say the same thing, which is my friends. I've got a college roommate in the room. I lived in a house of, with 15 people. So really, I have a cluster of 15 people who are the sixth player. I have one in every city, basically. And so wherever I am, I get somebody to come and be with me and support me and be a part of these kinds of things. And I get to be with them, and it's amazing. So I can't imagine my life without it. So that's where friendships is like lifelong.
Awesome. And I'm going to throw mine in. My partner and my kid are there. So. And it's amazing what little kids notice. Little kids are amazingly intuitive. Yeah, she's happy to get a little shout out. So I give it to them, and I give it to my girls' group chat.
Yes.
The girls' group chat, we do check-ins, we do selfie check-ins, and we notice the quiet. And if someone hasn't said something, no matter how little or random, in a few days, it's like, where are you? Where you at? Check in, send a photo, proof of life. So I give it to them as well. Well, it has been such a joy being in conversation with you, learning from you, hearing your unique perspectives. And I personally am going to take a little bit from everything that you have shared tonight, and I know that our wonderful guests tonight as well, and we are going to continue to be there for each other.
Yes.